Hey everybody, welcome back to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I am your host, Gordon Gamble, joined by this beauty of a man, Keyrode, and we are back after absolutely destroying last week's slate, Okay. You know what? We gave out some amazing plays. We had some insane bets, so make sure you're following our Twitter because we went off. And if it wasn't for Mike Rodriguez being, Mike Rodriguez, we would have a flawless night. I mean, other than that, we still made a lot of money, and we are ready to put it all back into this pay-per-view card, UFC 266. How are we feeling?
I think we feel awesome. Well, 6-1 on bets it was last weekend. Made a lot of money. Awesome card. Picked a lot of nice DFS lineups, that's for sure. So yeah, again, make sure to check out the Twitter. But yeah, this is exciting as a UFC fan this weekend, not just as a fantasy sports player and sports bettor, because we finally have some fighters that somebody recognizes the name of again. So, another pay-per-view card, UFC 266, a long-awaited one, a great main event. And yeah, we're excited for this weekend of fights.
You got the return of Nick Diaz, the return of the minus 1,400 favorite, Valentin Shevchenko. But you know what? Last week, we killed our underdog of the week in Carlson Harris. We killed our favorites of the week, and we made some killer lineups, and I'm ready to do it again. Yeah. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Our very first play of the day, our favorite one. And if you've been following my account for a long time, you know exactly who I'm going to say. Merab the Machine Dvalishvili is going to be our core play of the day, strictly because he is a machine, like his name says. I mean, this man gets a ton of takedowns, and that's what he does. Tell us a bit about this matchup he has against Moraes here.
Yeah, we have Merab Dvalishvili sitting up here at 8.9K, one of the bigger price tags on the card. But again, as we say all the time, for very good reason, he's up there at $8,900. I mean, this guy averages more takedowns than anybody in the history of the UFC. We all know that about him. Takedown after takedown. And he's fighting a guy who, in 3 of his last 4 fights, has been knocked out and knocked out pretty badly in Moraes. I mean, he has experience in this division in the UFC. He's been here a long time, but recently he hasn't been doing too well. And we think Merab here has a really good matchup against him. So we love this guy as our first play, big price tag, but definitely going to be worth it this week.
I mean, he's called the machine for a reason. I mean, same guy who's put up 13 takedowns one fight. I mean, after his first 8 fights in the UFC, he's got more takedowns than anybody else ever has. Same guy who put up, 150 fan points one day? And he's looking to do it again. So I love him here in the spot. He's going to be our favorite pay-up option of the day. We look down lower in the slate, though. There's a bunch of big favorites, so that makes it so that our underdogs this week are in a lot of trouble. If I'm going to be completely honest, there's not many underdogs I really like. Someone with a lower price tag, and who technically can be considered an underdog, is going to be Maximov in this spot here. He's Nick Diaz's training partner. He is a ground specialist. We've seen him compete at a lot of grappling matches recently. And he's facing someone in Carl Robertson, which is a grappler's delight. A guy who's been finished on the ground all the time. That's the only way he loses. In fights where Robertson's been taken down, he loses. That's a simple fact. And he's fighting someone in Maximov who, that's all he wants to do is he wants to go down there, he wants to wrestle, he wants to submit you. So I think it's just a dream matchup for Maximov. Kind of too good to be true. The problem with him is Robertson isn't the best guy I've ever faced. Maximov has really only faced hands. If Robertson's able to stop those takedowns, which I don't expect him to, it could be a little bit hairy. But at 8K, he's someone I really like to have, and he has a lot of upside to be able to finish by submission. Now moving along to let's call it a GPP play. This is a really risky spot here. We do not like many underdogs, but one guy who we think has more of a spot than his price tag allows him to is going to be Jairzinho Rozenstruik, sitting at a price tag of 7K. Now tell us why we like him at GPP.
I mean, we saw Blades in his last fight out, fighting Derek Lewis, and he went for the takedown, and he got hit with that uppercut, and it was lights out like that. He was out, huge points for Lewis. Still, Rozenstruik has incredible power. He's a huge guy, and if he catches Blades with one of those touch of death punches, this could be a good play for you. And at $7,000 on DraftKings, that could be huge value, especially on a slate with not a lot of underdogs that we like. So do we think he's necessarily going to win this fight? Chances are he's not going to. But if he catches him with that one punch, he could win this fight and he could score huge for you. He could even get this knockout early. But yeah, I mean, he's one of the underdogs that we definitely think you could take. Obviously more of a GPP play in cash lineups, not the greatest play out there. But maybe throw him in there if you're feeling lucky.
I mean, it's twice now that Blade's been knocked out in brutal fashion. So we don't know where his chin's at. Like I said, GPP play for a reason. In all honesty, if it comes down to skill, Blades will wrestle him and score really big himself. This is a fight I'm going to be really high owned on, but you cannot count out Rosenstrike and his power.
We've been coming off a bunch of weeks of UFC fight nights in Vegas, but this week we have 2 title fights on the card. Some very exciting matchups. What do we think about the 2 title fights this week?
I mean, I was on him their first time it was booked, and I'm on him again. I'm on Volkanovski here. And if you know me, I'm a huge Holloway fan, and this has nothing to do with that at all. This is a fact that Volkanovski's the better fighter, in my opinion. I think he wants him more. You see him here. He has all the tools to beat Ortega. And whereas I do think Ortega is a violent finisher in many different ways, he doesn't have the striking that Volkanovski does. And I think people are putting too much stock into that Korean Zombie win. I mean, he looked great on the feet, but I don't think he's going to be able to replicate that at all versus Volkanovski. And Volkanovski is way too smart to put himself in any submission positions that Ortega is going to want him in. So this spot, I think it's Volkanovski all the way. I am liking him. And then look at Valentina, and she's minus 1,400 for a reason. 9.5K. I mean, if you're playing cash lineups, get him in there. She's going to be chalky, but at 9.5K, you probably should have her, but it's going to be tough to fit her in your lineup because she is going to win. She's probably going to finish. It's just tough to have. Their opponents, on the other hand, I wouldn't play any Murphy at all, and I think the only way you want to play Ortega is if you're getting really risky with it. If you want to save up for those big lineups, that's the way you can do it right there. So taking both the favorites in the main event and hoping the 2 champs keep their belt this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Shevchenko is a huge price tag up there, but I mean, she's going to be worth that price tag. That's as close to an L word as we can say on this channel.
I'll put the clown in front of your face.
You might be hesitant to take her at that price tag, but I mean, if you've watched Shevchenko's fights, you know that you got to get her in there, especially in cash lineups.
Now this weekend, there's actually a third 5-round fight. We have someone in Nick Diaz facing Robbie Lawler. We gonna have any of them in our lineups?
Yeah, I mean, this is a bit of a weird fight, honestly. One of these guys, and Nick Diaz, hasn't been fighting for the past 6 years. Lawler's up there in age too at 39. So these are 2 old guys getting in the ring. The first fight they had against each other was back in 2002. It's been a long time. This is the rematch, and we got Lawler sitting at $8,300 and Nick Diaz sitting at $7,900. And in this fight, if you're going to take one of these guys, we really think that you should be on the Diaz side of this fight. I mean, Lawler has the activity advantage in that he's actually been fighting recently, but he's got 4 losses in a row. And we think Nick has some of the advantages in this fight. He's got a better ground game. He's got good output. I mean, his cardio is good. The fact that it's a 5-round fight favors Nick Diaz. He's a Diaz brother, right? He's not going to get knocked out. He's going to stay in there. He's going to get decent output for you, and we expect him to put up some decent numbers in this fight, even though Lawler is the slight favorite to get the win here.
Yeah, man. And I mean, if you're looking at someone underneath that 8K price range, he's probably going to be your best bet. I mean, you look at someone like Jalen Turner there, I think he's a good chance against someone in Medic who has fought mostly cans. Pierce might have a chance at the ground, but Morales is a killer. So there's so many underdogs in this spot that I just don't like. I mean, I'm not going to be playing any Calvia, any Bruno Silva, any Modafferi, any Sano. It's just so tough to pick underdogs here. I think the one underdog you could look at could be someone in Nasrat Haqparast. I mean, he's looked really, really good with his box recently, but he has been knocked out. I mean, Hooker's gonna be the best fighter he's ever fought. Haqparast, you know, we got those personal things. He did lose his mom last week and all that stuff, so we don't know what shape he's gonna be in, but I think that he does have more of a chance than the 75K price range does entail. But I mean, if you look at the more expensive side, if you want to get someone like Valentina in there, love her this week. I think Semmelsberger should knock out Sana round 1 as well. Love him this week as well. Taylor Santos going to grind it out a decision against Roxanne Modafferi. Love her as well. Everybody up top is a great, great option. I mean, you can also look at someone like Chris Dawkins, who I think should win at 8.8K price tag. So many good options, and I think we're just going to leave it there. I mean, we gave you our core plays. If you have any more questions, feel free to hit us up on Twitter. We also be doing live streams on this channel every single Friday at 5 o'clock, breaking down the fights as well. So here are spots there. Like we said, we're going to like someone like Morale up top, someone like Maximoff around the middle range. So lots of options this week, lots of big favorites. Do whatever you want with it. Whatever you do, best of luck to you. One last thing, we are going to be doing a $25 free entry contest to first place. Make sure you comment below your DraftKings username and we'll get you in there and you guys can win some free money. Who doesn't want some free money, right? So thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, follow our Twitters and Instagram, and let's make some money.